Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Pivot Ready Live. I'm Wesley Maria. We're on the services side of Bergflow with Amy, who runs operations for Bergflow. Thank you guys for signing in, signing up. If you guys want to leave us a comment, I know this is going live on Facebook, and we'll also be putting it on our YouTube channel. So we love live engagement. If you guys have any questions, for those that are regular listeners, Jackson, Jake, Brad, all those guys, thank you guys for listening. Please feel free to chat with us if you have any questions. Amy, let's start with a little bit of a recap, maybe last week, what we spoke about, and then how we're continuing the conversation this week.
Well, last week we started with just kind of what it really looks like to build a great team. Again, in our coaching, we focus on the human systems, and we believe that the human system will multiply your business. So I think we dove a little bit on, kind of how to find talent. Maybe I even touched a little bit on where to find talent. Today, I want to focus more on, you have individual talents, but what does it actually mean to build a team and work as a team, play as a team, all of that. So that's where we're heading.
All right. So this is, Amy said, we said you have enough content for us to talk about today. And I'm like, please stop me when I get on the soapbox. I'm very passionate.
I will gladly.
Okay. Thank you. I am very passionate about humans being able to build a strong team around themselves. There's a couple of things that immediately come to mind. When people say, "Oh, why do I need a team?" There's an old African proverb that says, "If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go further, go together. Go together." And you have to be able to get to that point where you leverage the skills of other people. Let's break it down. What does that mean? Last week, we spoke about strength-based approach, having a strength-based culture, having people around you that, one, you can identify their strengths, you can celebrate their strengths, and you know how to use their strengths. I was having a conversation with Amy, and I said, 2x4 is a beautiful thing, but sometimes it's a hammer, and sometimes it's the leg to a table, and sometimes it's the top end of a easel that you cut wood on. It's very versatile, but not everything in life is just as useful as a 2x4. A hammer functions best when it's a hammer. Can I use my mobile phone? Maybe on little things, but I don't think it's going to be the best hammer. So it's not innately built around certain strengths to service my need. So are people very different. People have innate strengths. And there's been lots of stuff and lots of talk around, know your strengths, work on your weaknesses, which is a terrible idea. Because awareness around your weakness is one thing. Trying to improve a weakness to a strength will never happen. You'll probably only ever end up with a skill. I can play saxophone and guitar, but I'm never going to be Slash or Jimi Hendrix. They have an innate skill to do a certain innate ability to do something. They just haven't developed a skill around a weakness. So people and the people around you, you have to understand how to leverage those strengths. You need to identify them, as I said, celebrate them, and know how to use them at what time. So anything that you want to add to that, Amy?
Let's just remind me how you are recognizing strengths.
So there's a couple of ways. Most people will say, well, and I was in Florida. I did a talk last week at a conference in Florida, and I always ask this question when I go to conferences. I'm like, how do you hire people? And they're like, no, we kind of go for coffee for 30 minutes, and then they slip me a resume, which is a self-proclaimed autobiography on everything that I think I can do well. And I'm going to put all my friends as references to validate my exaggerated skills so that you give me the position. And that might work in I don't know, the 50s. But today's day and age requires a different person, because the workforce of today is different. If you look back at the 1950s, job security, it was 50s, 60s, 70s was post the Great Depression. Everybody wanted job security. They wanted a 401k. They wanted to work at a company for 42 years and then retire and all that stuff. So today, the workforce has a different requirement. And I was invited on a podcast last week, and I spoke about this. Jake, it's on Jake's Under Pressure podcast. So Jake and I'm gonna butcher his name. And Anderson, he told me last week. Aronson. I'm sorry, Jake. I know that I screwed it up again. I apologize. It's Jake Aronson. I'm gonna get it on my arm, a tattoo. So he's got a podcast that he runs, Under Pressure, and we spoke about exactly that. Is how do you get people to that point where they realize what are their strengths and what are the things that you're telling them they're good at? We were talking about the workforce, and a very popular phrase nowadays is silent quitting. And it's a very trendy saying. You guys can go Google it. It just means that I'm doing just enough not to get fired. And I spoke about it on the podcast with Jake, and we actually had a nice lengthy discussion around it. The workforce suffers from silent quitting, or quiet quitting, sorry, is the phrase, quiet quitting, because of silent leadership. Because you as a leader don't know how to motivate and attract people, celebrate their strengths. They're looking for an environment where the employer is their mentor. Their employer makes them better. Their employer knows their name. Hey, you've been here for 2 years. You've been here for 3 years. It's your work anniversary. You get a cupcake today, or everybody at least knows that you have been with a company for 3 years. Not how you get a 10-year, tenor gold watch. And it's like, hey, thanks for sticking it out for 10 years. And a lot of people used to work to that. I just need to get to 10 years so I can get my gold watch. The workforce today looks for a different type of employer. And if you're throwing money at a people problem because you lack skill or understanding or interest around people, you're going to go into a price war with McDonald's and Walmart that are paying $25 an hour and a $500 joining bonus. That's why it's difficult for you to find technicians to come and work for you, because they can go to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal plus $25 an hour. You're asking them, hey, just do this work, build this company that I, as company owner, benefit from. So just on my soapbox for a minute, Amy, just 2 minutes, maybe 3. So let's call it 2. The biggest challenge that I see is business owner and CEO. Business owners confuse those two as one and the same thing. A business owner is the person that has taken the risk, therefore they get the reward of the profits of the business. A CEO, a true CEO, is there to do a job. If you appoint me or Amy or whoever, Tom Sawyer down the road, if you get appointed as a CEO at a company, there's an expectation for you to deliver results. But a lot of business owners are stuck in that quantum leap between I'm a business owner and I'm the CEO. Maybe you were built to be a business owner. You have the acumen, you have the risk tolerance, you have the aptitude to go out and conquer, but you might run into a position where you are, getting over your ski tips a little bit. The position is asking more of you than what you effectively can deliver. So, I speak to a lot of business owners that for them is still the same thing. And we can go down how the economic model works and how you should structure all that. And I can gladly talk to companies around that in the strategy sessions. But at the core of what we're talking today is, do you understand the strengths that makes up the team? And not just these are the available strengths that I have, is can you say these are the strengths that my business needs? I don't want to build a business. You know, I heard a phrase last week called I have a lifestyle business. I'm like, that's great. You know, that's like saying I have a stretchy pants that fits my belly. And as my belly grows, my stretchy pants are going to grow, you know. Um, from what's that movie? Um, Nacho Libre, when he says, borrow me some slats. You know, it's like, borrow me something that'll grow as I grow. And building a lifestyle business, what happens is you build this business, it awards you a lifestyle, and then you stop growing. And you've created this glass ceiling because it just matches your lifestyle. Yet you're trying to bring people into your organization where you're saying, hey, I want to give you guys opportunity, but I'm not willing to go through this glass ceiling that I've created because for me to have a bigger business that includes your vision, so I have to break through this glass ceiling, and it doesn't really fit my lifestyle business model. And then people say, well, why can't I hold people? Why can't I keep the technicians? Why can't I keep the leaders in my world? Because they're seeing that all they're doing is funding your lifestyle business. Is there a perfect answer? No. You've got to decide how much opportunity do you want to create for other people. And let's say you come across the likes of Amy. So no, Amy is not on the market, but if you come across the likes of Amy in the marketplace, you've got to be able to say, this is Amy's strengths that I can identify. Using those strengths, it's called the if then. I'm listening to a book, Barking Up the Wrong Tree by Eric Barker, and he talks about the if then. If I hire somebody like Amy, as an example, then my business can do this. If I stop wasting time on procrastination around a certain thing, then I can do this. But a lot of people say, when I do this, then this. And it's not a when then, it's if then. If you stop wasting time, if you can create enough opportunity, if you can identify strengths, if you can motivate your people, then the results will show up. And a lot of people put the cart in front of the horse to say, well, overcommit and over deliver, and then I will reward you. And one of the things that Eric talks about in that book is the gamification of the work environment. You know, people play games on their mobile phones, stuff like that all the time. And people play games because it's entertaining. They don't play Angry Birds or Solitaire to win. They play it for the entertainment element of that. And somehow that is permeated into our psyche to say that is life. So when I go to work, all I have to do is play or exist for entertainment purposes, live in a position so that I don't get fired. I'm not playing to win. I'm playing for the sake of playing. So what that does is it actually allows bad behavior from a leadership side to say, I know that people are just here to play. I know that they're just here to do a job. So you know what? Every time somebody does something right, I don't even have to acknowledge it. Because if they do this right, I'll just say, well, you haven't done this. Because my psyche tells me they're happy with losing because I just need to give them another challenge. Just get back onto the little Mario Kart and try again. And then, so it feels to your team like you're moving the goalpost all the time. And then they're like, you know what? Starbucks is giving me free frappuccinos and $26 an hour, or even $20 an hour. But I don't have to deal with this constant moving of the goalpost. So, I mean, I would gladly recommend this book to anybody. I'm truly enjoying the insights that Eric clearly articulates. So Sorry, that was my 2 minutes on the soapbox, Amy. How did I do? Was I on my 2 minute mark?
I'm gonna order the book tomorrow because you've told me about it like 5 times in 2 days, so it's gotta be a good one. But here's my thought. Like, I think we're gonna switch directions, and I don't think it's a bad thing because I think you brought up some really good points. So last week we talked a lot about the right people. In our human system model, it's all about the right people in the right seats with the right motivation. So today, like, let's just skip the right seats for a second and jump to the motivation, because that's kind of what you were talking about here. And I think a couple of notes on what you said. First of all, when you were talking about the lifestyle business, it all comes down to motivation. So if I'm a business owner and my motivation is, I want to drive a Lexus and I don't know anything about cars. I'm just assuming it's an expensive car. I want to have a nice house. I want to pay a housekeeper, whatever that motivation is. If that is my motivation, then it's going to cap out. When I reach those things, I've reached my motivation.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's motivating me to go beyond it. And so one of the things that I have come to appreciate coming over into BergFlow is, as a CEO, if your motivation is to take care of other people, provide opportunity for other people, if your motivation is always more about other people than just yourself, you're always going to go higher and higher and higher and higher and get bigger and bigger, and you're going to provide opportunities galore for other people. And even to the extent of, this is a weird example, but we were talking about Elon Musk a while ago, and Elon Musk doesn't need any more money. His motivation, whether it's actually to save the earth or whether it's just to be the person who saves the earth, I don't know. But ultimately, either of those things come down to doing it for other people. He could live out his life and the earth never get saved, and he would be perfectly fine. And so I think from a top-down motivation standpoint, it's very important to really take stock of what your motivation is. Not to say there's anything wrong with supporting you and your family, but then you have to come back to, are you building a business or are you being a self-employed person? Because one of those puts other people in the picture and one of those provides for your family.
Yeah.
The flip side of that is when you were talking about, if you're competing with McDonald's or Starbucks for talent, and I think the thing is now that, and I'm not generalizing society here, but what motivates me has never been money. I have literally lived in a closet. It's not a motivation factor for me. Doesn't mean it's not important. I need money to live. That is a fact of life, but it's just not motivating me. So for me to go work at Starbucks, even if I'm making enough money to pay my bills, it is boring me out of my mind. I'm not going to stay there. There's some people that hey, I want to pay my bills and I don't want to have to work very hard and I really like free coffee, like that's their motivation, then you can't compete with that. So yeah, I don't know. That was kind of just a half-baked thought, but
no. And I mean, I know that we've got some stuff prepped that we want to talk about. I don't want to take up all the time. Is at the root for me, and I do a lot of psychic analysis with clients through some software and speak to business owners, executives, boots to the ground people, prospective clients, guys who own $50 million companies and guys who own $200,000 companies. I lost my thought. Is people don't know how to truly articulate what's important to them and what's important to other people. And I've heard this saying, well, generation X or generation, Z or D or ADE or whatever. Side note, you said you lived in a closet. I'm glad you came out the closet, Amy. It doesn't matter what generation you are. People say, oh, this generation is that way. That generation is that way because we gave everybody a participation trophy. And just by showing up to work, I don't have to do much. I just have to participate. So if you're going to build a business, then you can't play by the participation rules. And throwing money at people is just the participation rules. Everybody else is throwing more money. So I'm just going to also hand out, participation money trophies to everybody. You have to find the thing that motivates that person.
So I listened to a study, I don't know, it was several weeks ago. He was talking about how we have, by nature as a society, taken away all of the difficult tasks in our lives. And it's like, down to the simplest thing. We have a dishwasher that does our dishes for us. We pay food delivery so we don't have to cook. We pay other people to clean our houses because money will buy us, in essence, what he was getting at was money will buy us laziness.
Yeah.
And so as an employer, when I think about that, it's like, okay, well, throwing more money at the problem, it's like throwing donuts at an obesity problem. Like you're just feeding the root of the issue. And so I think I think it's a combination of a lot of things, obviously, but I think if you want to find really good talent, in my opinion, money is very rarely going to be a motivating factor.
Absolutely. So one of the interesting studies that I was researching the other day is they were talking about the notion of I just need to find my soulmate and then I'll be happy. And it kind of relates back to I just need to find the perfect position and then I will be happy. So my question to anybody is, if you find the perfect position, are you just going to stop working? You're just going to sit there and do nothing because you have arrived? And the same is true for your relationship. You and your husband, just because you found somebody that you want to share your life with, the race is not over. The race starts. That's where the race starts. And then you start saying, okay, now I actually need to invest into this relationship. I got to deal with his snoring. He's got to deal with my eating, likes and dislikes. I've got to deal with his fishing habit. He's got to deal with my horse habit, whatever it is. So there's always a level of coexistence, and it takes work. Yet when we get to the work environment, well, I just need to find the perfect position, and then I'm going to live in this rainbow world called happiness. You still have to show up, but it's precursed for me by creating the environment that will attract a successful person into that position. The person is not going to make the position successful. The position is going to make the person successful. And it's about creating the environment. It's looking at your culture. It's looking at the strength-based approach. It's looking at who else is on the team, because all of those elements are going to influence how successful. You can bring Elon Musk, into a terrible environment. Everybody's going, oh, he's going to make it better. Yeah, but he's also going to be exposed to a bunch of bad people. So that's why they are very selective. If you look at the rule of 5 averages, the 5 people you spend the most time with, you're the average of that 5. So that's probably why he hasn't phoned me yet, to come over for Thanksgiving to his house. So ask yourself, who's those 5 people? And the same is true in your business. If your business is made up of 4 people or 3 people that are just there for a paycheck, and you and I spoke about this, is if you got 5 people, 2 are bad performers, 2 are medium performers, and 1 good performer, the good performer always gets the least amount of attention. Why? Because I've got to save these 2 drowning people. And, like the Coast Guard says, they save people that swim towards them, not the people that are splashing around in the water. The people are saving towards them. That's who you should be saving, the people that are showing the effort. So building a team that is strength-based approach, and I keep coming back to that, is, and I've got some stuff pulled up that we can go through, is knowing what your team makeup is. It's taking stock of the team that you have and how you're adding to this, but it's also knowing what the environment needs.
So, Wesley, give us a real life example I think what you said was the person's not going to make the position's going to make the person.
So think of it as a title. I was talking to some of my clients, and they're on this journey from business owner to CEO. And it is definitely a mindset shift to say, I am now CEO, I'm not owner anymore. And a lot of people will just label themselves CEO without truly understanding what that means. It's like an arranged marriage. You and I are betrothed. I show up tomorrow at the wedding. I get married. Does that mean I'm husband material? No, it just means that I have the title of husband. Just because I have kids doesn't make me. It makes me a parent, but it doesn't make me a father in the true sense of being responsible for the development of my kids. Being a CEO by title doesn't necessarily make you a good leader. You're just, we were joking about it, the birds, if you look at the corporate structure, when all the birds are there, the bottom ones look up and they just see buttholes, and the top ones look down and they just see shit. So it's perspective, and you have to understand, am I falling victim to repeating more of the same things, where I'm just bringing people in just to do certain things and I'm not celebrating their strengths? Because they're just going to look at me and say, you're not a leader. You're just somebody that had a big contract that needed people to do it, and you paid me money. So now I'm going to go on and do the next thing. I'm going to go to the next client. I'm going to go to the next company.
Well, and back to your point around the law of averages, let's say you put a lot of effort into, like, okay, you met Wesley on the street and man, he's talent and you want to bring him into your world. But up until this point, all you've been doing is hiring people with money. Wesley might come into the world and everybody that's already existing there very well is going to just kill all of his energy off. Yeah. I mean, they might even drag him down. He might just say, forget about it, I'm out of here. But those things have to match up, but not in a skills way, because this is really important to me, is that I'm better at Wesley at details, but I'm not good at details. And so if Wesley and I both kind of suck at details, we have to go find somebody who's good at the details, or we're never going to get anywhere. And so the balance of strengths and the balance of motivation are 2 different conversations.
Absolutely. And you have to understand what the need of your company is. You're breaking up a little bit, but can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So you have to be able to understand the needs of the role within your company. You have to understand how that role integrates with the rest of the company. And ultimately, you've got to understand the need at a company level. So if my company needs more of this, not I need more task doers doing this, is I need somebody like this. So I've got a screen pulled up. So we use software that actually looks at being able to assess people. So you'll see there it says at the top, a dynamics report and an adjusted dynamics report. So in effect, the dynamics report just takes stock of who these people are. What are their natural strengths? So each one of these little dots represents a person. I just pulled up a random few people. So you can see that I've got 2 outliers here, right? And if I take this outlier out, you can see the entire average move. And now I take out this one, and you can see that this little orange dot becomes the new average. So what that means is, I'll just add them back to finish my thought. Is it divides it into these 4 quadrants. So do I need more social awareness? Meaning, think of your customer service division, people that care about customers, people that care about how a message is relayed, people that worry about how a message is received. Or is it somebody that, this group of people on the bottom left are all sustainably focused? So their mindset goes to structure, repeatability, sustainability. Every single thing for them is tainted with sustainability as a lens. So when you throw something at them, it's like, hey, here's a new opportunity, they're going to say, not sustainable. They might push back. So how do I deal with an individual that has a certain lens? If somebody is a growth person, they're always going to be looking for opportunity. It's a great attribute, but an overused strength becomes a weakness, because all of a sudden, all they do is they get distracted by these fireflies, and everything looks like an opportunity. Every oasis is an ocean. And it's like, no, that's a mirage. It's not even an oasis. You're getting distracted by things that are not actually there. Focus and stay true to the course. And then enactment is, they just people who go out and do stuff. They just tell me which direction to shoot, I'll just shoot. And they like getting stuff done. So measures for success for them is a lot more based on, can I measure success step by step, step by step? So it's a different mental makeup. The interesting thing is that we can assess how these people are supposed to be. These are their natural strengths, right? But if I go to the adjusted self, if I can get my mouse to work, I'm sorry, use this one. If I go to the adjusted self, you can see that everything moves. It's the same group of people, but the environment is very different. They live and work in a larger organization, very structured, big wheels, lots of red tape. So everybody just looks at sustainability, which is great, but you can see that growth and enactment actually starts weaning off. The people that are actually going to move needle, you can see I've got a bigger team. So I'm not going to take this individual and pair them with that individual and say, hey, you guys go and put a marketing strategy together. Or, you know what, I'm going to take this person right here and this person right here and say, hey, you guys need to work together. Because when it's diagonally like this, very difficult for people to coexist. Very difficult. So growth and enactment people, they kind of speak the same language. It's like a 60-40 mix, speaking the same language. These people are just different continents. They just have very little relatability, because how they solve problems, how they think of stuff. So understanding what team you're trying to put together, how to assess your team. When we look at the adjusted self, which is more of a live data on the last 90 to 120 days of who they are, it actually tells us this is who they are today, meaning this is how the position is showing up, or asking them to show up. This is what they're allowed to be. So in this instance, I don't know if all of these people are actually in their strength zone. So when I hired them initially, they were telling me on their resume, they were telling me on, whatever assessment that you use, they were telling me over coffee, I like opportunity. And then I'm like, okay, great. I don't have much structure around that. So why don't you tell me when you see it, when it comes past, when one of these fireflies or an actual opportunity come and tell me. And then they never do, and they just stagnate. So if you look at this individual here, very growth driven, very opportunistic on opportunities. And then they start working for me, and I'm like, I don't know, I hired this person that had all these great aspirations, yet they're just disappearing in the crowd. They're just dissolving like an effervescent. And I don't actually see the impact of hiring them. So it becomes very difficult for me to say, well, I can actually measure the success of this person that came into my world. So thanks. I mean, you can cut the screen. Is being able to know what material effectively you have to work with. What is the substance of the team that you have is one thing, but knowing how to apply that, knowing what this tool is going to do for you, this collaboration of collective genius that I have unlocks this opportunity in my company. Yet the culture of my company doesn't celebrate creative thinking. It doesn't celebrate out the box problem solutions. It's like, no, we do stuff the way we've always done. Yet I've hired you to carve a new path for us to grow the business, and people will feel, like their hands are tied, and it's like, I just can't succeed in this position. And one of the things that people constantly have to learn at every level is failure is not personal, or a challenge is not personal, it's not permanent, and it's not pervasive. So you have to, in your mind, understand those are the 3 P's. Is if somebody in my team fails, does that mean everybody fails? Does that mean everybody else needs to fail or is going to fail? Or is it a lack of leadership from my side? So you know what? I was actually a silent leader. Yet I'm trying to tell my people that work for me, stop quiet quitting, show more motivation, do more than what's asked. You guys are not stepping up to the plate. There's so much opportunity, yet as a silent leader, there's a saying that says speed of the leader, speed of the pack. And if the leader is only moving at half a mile, you can't expect the pack to run at 5 miles an hour. So one or two things are going to happen. You get out the way or you pick up speed. But we always look for the it's always on the other side of the fence.
Well, you say that saying a lot, and I agree with it to some extent, but I also always kind of find it, it's a little bit ironic to me, because in that reference, the speed of the leader, the speed of the pack, meaning if you're not moving and you hire a bunch of movers behind you, you're either going to get run over or they're going to start slowing down. But in my personal experience, because of my nature, you can also outrun them. Because if you are a very fast moving person and you start to hire slow moving people, you're going to leave your team in the dust. And then are you actually building a team, or are you just pulling a sled?
And that's very true, Amy, because looking at who you hire, I hired somebody based on what they promised me in their resume. They told me they run at 5 miles an hour. In the workplace, my environment doesn't allow them to run more than half a mile an hour. So again, did I make a bad hire, or am I a bad leader? And it's neither, it's both. You have to say, did I make the right hire, and did I show up as the right leader to allow this person to operate according to their strengths?
And it's also awareness as to what type of leader you are. So in your natural strength and your natural state, you have as much of a natural state as I have. So if you hire me, I also can't expect you to go so far out of your natural zone that you become a different person. So you have to have the self-awareness around what your natural strengths are, what your natural speed is, all of those things, because that's the leader you're going to show up to be. You can't show up to be somebody else.
And again, I've kind of kicked a soapbox around, so I'm trying not to get onto it. And I'm trying to stay on topic. There's a it comes back to motivation, understanding motivation. If you understand what motivates that person, then you're able to not stretch out of behavior for yourself. You're not becoming somebody that you're not. That's why it's not you. It's not me, the great leader, that is making Amy the great person. It is me, the great leader, creating a position, an opportunity in the company that person can grow as fish grows as big as the tank allows, and they'll grow as big as the opportunity is within that position. But if I'm saying Amy's success is 100% dependent on me, then it's a lifestyle business. It is, you're capping yourself as a self-employer.
Yeah.
So the mindset shift goes back to, do I understand people's core wiring, their behavior? And am I, as a true leader, a CEO, looking at my company and saying, I'm creating environments for them to succeed in? And not just lip service, like, am I truly creating an environment for them to succeed in? I mean, we had a conversation with Dirk, Berkflow's owner, yesterday. And Dirk challenged me on stuff. And then I said, well, welcome to the mat. I'm going to challenge you on stuff. And that's our culture in the company. Is Dirk allows us the opportunity to say, hey, I need you guys to challenge me on stuff. There are certain things that I potentially have a blind spot. And if you don't challenge me, I'm going to assume that I'm doing it correctly. So is it easy? No. Is it simple? No. Is it comfortable for everybody in the room? No. And is everybody going to do that? No. But you have to create the environment where people's voices can be expressed. They can speak up. So I know that you run a team. So you and I work well together. I probably won't work well in your division because I just operate differently than what you are. It doesn't mean that we can't work together. We've done a lot of work on understanding how to work together. And a lot of people have taken a bunch of people, given them all the same shirt, and say we all do the same type of job. By default, that makes us a company. And it's like a little bit of an arranged marriage to say, I'm going to take me as the husband, you as the wife, that person's kid, and that person's dog, and I'm going to call it a family. There's more that goes into that.
Well, and I think it's really important to note that you and I, we do work well together, but we also have had to work very hard at working well together. Yes. Because we're very opposite in a lot of ways. And that means that our company as a whole has a sense of balance in terms of like, hey, our key leaders are not the same people. It's not a popularity contest. It's not a, hey, I really get along with this person, so I'm going to put them in the seat. It's like, this is the best fit for this position in this team so that everybody brings their strengths to the table. And it's exactly all the things that we've been talking about today. But to say it's not like a little puzzle that just clicks together. Like, there's clashes and there's challenges, and we've had to work through them, and we've had to learn how to, sometimes it means not showing up in your strength 100% of the time.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to reiterate this, but it's because the CEO has purposefully, in some instances better than others, but in a general sense, created the environment for you and I to say, hey, you guys need to make a little nest here. There's enough space for you guys to build a nest to cohabit in this work environment. It's not, I'm going to tell you what to do. And a lot of service-based companies that I talk with is most of the company owners that come up through the servicing side. So they tend to have an opinion around the servicing of the business. and I read a beautiful thing doing some research. Let me just pull it up. Half my emails are from me to me. So these are one of my emails from me to me. It says, knowing we are replaceable should not make us fearful. It should make us fearless in the work environment. Because a lot of us hold on to these things to say, well, I came up through the servicing side. I always know what the best is for the company on the servicing side. It's like maybe when you were $100,000 a year company, yes. You're now a $3 million a year company. So, you know, the little handwritten card that you did to the 5 clients that you had, they worked. But now the market has moved on, the clients have moved on, the experience in the market has moved on. I mean, everything moves on. The way that we shop, my wife buys from Amazon Fresh or whatever, the people that deliver food at my door. So the way that we exist and had constantly evolves. So somewhere you have to say, you know what, maybe I don't know the best way to serve the client at the highest level. And I'm going to end with this. The best way that you can do that, my advice to you guys that listening today is, a lot of us set a vision and then we say, hey, I'm never looking at a map again. I looked up once, that's north. I'm going to put my head down. I'm just going to walk in the direction I think is north. The way that we do that is called vision alignment, is you have to recast vision. It's almost like a stock take. It's almost like, hey guys, are we still on the right road? I mean, if the road traffic department can put up a sign that says, yes, you're still on your way to Amarillo. You know, if I start seeing, road signs that says Florida 50 miles, when do I want to find that out? 50 miles from Florida, or the moment I start realizing I'm going off track? So being able to recast vision, it's those indicators to say, yes, we're still on the right track. Yes, you know what? We're going to have to do something a little bit different, but we're still heading in the right direction. Our clients' needs have changed over the last year, 3 years, 5 years from when we started the business. I did mom and pop businesses when I started. Now I do 60-40 residential and commercial. My client base has changed. So therefore my branding maybe needs to change, or my image, my message, my delivery, my pricing. The business is going to evolve. So therefore I have to be able to recast vision to make sure and say, hey, everybody, we're going in this direction. Everybody still aware of that? So that's my advice, is find a way to be able to recast vision with your leaders. And more importantly is recast vision with yourself. Is make sure that my intention was to be self-employed because I didn't like working for Amy. Then I went to, you know what, I want a lifestyle business, but I'm still living in, I just want to be self-employed mindset. The step after this, I actually want to build a business where Amy can come and work for me because we actually work well together. But I'm still playing by, I just want to be my own boss rules. So if you don't recast vision, it doesn't allow you to realign the things that are important. You know, we just spoke about Pareto principle earlier today, is your 80-20 will change because what was the 20% last year or the year before or when you started the business is going to change depending on where you are now. So on that road to Amarillo, as I use the example, is when it's flat, it's flat. And we apply a certain amount of effort. But when we hit an uphill, it's going to take more effort. When there's twists and turns around the mountain, it takes maneuvering. But we have to know that we're still heading in the same direction. So recast vision, be able to have meaningful conversations with your people and stay in touch with your people. If you guys want to talk to us, we're offering you guys free strategy sessions. I promise I will keep it to an hour. So if you want to reach out to us at contact@berkflow.com, you're welcome to schedule some strategy time with us. I'd love to have a look at where you are in your business, where you're stuck, where we can help you, where are some of those glass ceilings that you don't even know that you're faced with. And then a very special offer, November 3rd and 4th, we're actually hosting a 2-day Zoom training on how to hire people. It's an online class. It's you guys can buy the tickets. You can attend. It's designed so that you can learn how to have proper interviews. It's not 30 minutes at Starbucks and a job offer. It's not just reviewing a resume and taking somebody for what they've put on paper as the true value of who they are. We have a very specific thing. And then we've also got a business planning coming up in December 15th. We're super excited about that. Think of business planning clinic as, what do I expect 2023 to be? How successful am I going to be at the end of 2023? We help you set those targets. We break it down into quarterly goals. And then from there, you can break it down into monthly targets, weekly targets, and daily activities that's going to get you there. So again, reach out to us at contact@Berkfo. We'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to talk some more with you. I know that we went a little bit long today. Amy, you must maybe get one of those signs that says soapbox, and then I'll stop.
Well, I think the thing about it is, though, that like we truly are passionate about the whole thing. And from my side, like I will say, I'm just as passionate as Wesley is. I just don't talk as much as Wesley does. But the passion comes from like experience. Like I've experienced that it works. I've experienced it as a employee. I've experienced as a leader. Like I've experienced what a difference it makes. And that's why we're so passionate about it. We as Berkfo are on a mission to help companies and help people. We want to impact people, not just you as a business owner or you as a leader, but the people who work under you. We're impacting their lives as well. And so, yeah, we went a little long today and we'll try to keep it shorter next time. But I think to me, it just speaks volumes to, we truly are passionate about it. I mean, this is free content. We'll talk about it all day long for free. I just don't let Wesley most of the time.
Yeah, see, I don't control this live stream. Amy does. So I don't know. That's why I have to ask her to stop shares and put stuff on. She can mute me and kick me off because otherwise I will just keep on ranting. But thank you guys for spending time with us. We love to connect with you guys. If you have any questions, please drop us an email, drop it in the chat. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Super excited to bring you guys some more valuable content. Have a great week. Cheers, everybody.